I'm Melissa Lantsman. I'm your Conservative candidate in Thornhill, and thank you for coming today. I want to take a moment to thank all of our Canada First Conservative colleagues for joining us today. All of our candidates, in no particular order, but Francis Lavoie, Sandra Cabina, Anna Roberts, Rob Pierce, Parm Gill, Natalie Weed, Vincent Ho, Louis Sibera, Amarjeet Gill, BJ Podell, Jocelyn Peoria, Nita Kang, Sudeep Kang, Asim Tarun, Bernard Trottier, James Lynn, Suchita Jalan, and Vaughan Woodbridge's very own Michael Guliamin, Lionel Loganathan, Jasprit Sandhu, Bob Dosanjh, Tim Iqbal, Roman Baber, Ashik Hussain, Amardeep Judge, Nicholas Pham, Gurmeet Sandhu, Bellant Matthew, and Malid Mikhail. Thanks for joining us today, and I have the honor of hosting Pierre Poilievre today for this important announcement. I want to tell you that I've crisscrossed the country, visited many campaign teams, knocked on many doors. In particular to those campaign teams, we see campaigns chock full of young people wanting change. Change so they can afford food, change so they can afford a home, change so they can live in safe streets. And all of those people working hard, knocking on doors for their Conservative candidates all over the country, wanting change for better days ahead in Canada. Because after this lost Liberal decade with costs and crime up, our economy down, under America's thumb, it's clear that the Liberals don't deserve a fourth term. I know it, our candidates know it, our volunteers know it, and millions of Canadians know it. They want change. It's time to put Canada first, change with a new Conservative government that will axe taxes, build homes, unleash resources, stop crime, and bring home jobs to stand up to Trump from a position of strength. Pierre Poilievre is the only one who can bring that change. And here to tell you more about our plan, I have the pleasure of introducing my boss, the next Prime Minister of Canada, Pierre Poilievre, the only one who can bring change to Canada.
Thank you very much to our great Deputy Leader, Melissa Lantsman, who is part of our team that is going to bring change to Canada. Here we are in Woodbridge to launch our platform, a platform whose title is Change. Change so that you can afford food and housing. Change so that you can live on a safe street. Change to put Canada first. Change is what we need now more than ever. Change offers the prospect of restoring the Canadian promise, the promise that hard work gives you a great life in a beautiful, affordable house on a safe street, protected by our brave troops under our proud flag. That is the Canadian promise. That is the promise the country made to me and to my wife, Anna. It's the promise that it made to countless generations who came before us. It is that promise that makes us so proud to be Canadians. It is the promise that we all owe to the next generation, and is the promise that it is my purpose in politics to restore. But after the lost Liberal decade, that promise is broken. Everything costs more. Seniors are choosing between heating and eating. Young people have given up on ever owning a home for the first time in the history of our country. Crime is raging out of control. Immigration has been broken by Liberal policies that grew population at a rate 3 times faster than our housing stock, crowding out homes, health care, and jobs. For 3 Liberal terms, Canada has had the worst GDP per capita of any country in the G7. much of that while Mark Carney was Justin Trudeau's economic advisor. And the OECD forecasts that Canada will have the worst economic growth out of all of its roughly 40 nations for the next 30 years. La promesse du Canada, la promesse canadienne, que le travail acharné vous permette d'avoir une belle vie dans une maison abordable sur une rue sécuritaire, est une promesse qui est maintenant brisée par des libéraux. Après les décennies perdues des libéraux, les Canadiens n'ont plus les moyens de faire leurs épiceries. Les aînés doivent choisir entre se chauffer et manger. Les jeunes ont perdu tout espoir de devenir propriétaires un jour. La criminalité est en forte hausse. L'immigration est hors de contrôle. Au cours des 3 derniers mandats, les libéraux nous ont donné la pire croissance économique parmi le G7 et l'OCDE prévoit que nous aurons encore le pire pour les 30 prochaines années. C'est le bilan de Mark Carney comme conseiller économique à Justin Trudeau et c'est le bilan de Justin Trudeau et les libéraux. Donc, on ne peut pas prendre le risque d'un 4e mandat de coûts hors de contrôle et d'une économie qui est en descente. On a besoin d'un changement pour rendre la vie abordable et sécuritaire, un changement pour mettre le Canada d'abord. C'est pour ça que nous lançons notre plateforme aujourd'hui, pour faire changement et permettre ceux qui travaillent fort d'avoir une belle vie et une belle retraite dans des quartiers sécuritaires et une vie abordable. Now, you have to take into consideration the context in which we're announcing this platform for a change. Just Saturday, Mark Carney announced that not only will he keep all of Justin Trudeau's reckless spending, he will add $130 billion more. Spending that will drive costs higher for food, housing, and everything else. Spending that will risk our economy and threaten our future. It's not that Mark Carney is as bad as Justin Trudeau. He's far more costly. We also learned from media reports that the Carney platform was already written for Justin Trudeau. So Mr. Carney has the same Liberal MPs, same Liberal ministers, same Liberal platform, and you will get the same disastrous Liberal results. And it is a very dangerous future if the Liberals get their 4th term. And this isn't just my words. It's Mark Carney's own government department. Just a week ago, we learned that one of the departments of the government, the Privy Council Office, has made some very depressing predictions about the way the country is headed after a decade of Liberal rule. I'm going to quote directly from this Privy Council report. In 2040, upward mobility is almost unheard of in Canada, they predict. Hardly anyone believes they can build a better life for themselves or their children through their own efforts, and many worry about sliding down the social order. It forecasts more people may struggle to afford rent, bills, and groceries. Resulting stress could worsen mental health challenges. This would increase demand for social services. And then there's some specific forecasts that the current Liberal government is making about our future. In 2040, owning a home is not a realistic goal for many. Inequality between those who rent and those who own has become a key driver of social, economic, and political conflict. The report goes on to say that people may lose faith in the Canadian project altogether. It forecasts that many will leave the country to avoid this rising cost and declining opportunity. And they believe that it will lead to a mental health crisis. More people will emigrate to jurisdictions where they believe upward mobility and or higher standards of living are easier to obtain. Quote, if young workers leave Canada, it may become harder to pay for the systems that support a growing number of older people. It says things are so bad that, and this is a quote, I'm quoting from the government here, if I had said this myself, you would have thought it was outlandish, but this is the government's own predictions about how bad things are headed right now. People may start to hunt, fish, and forage on public lands and waterways. because they can't afford groceries anymore. This isn't my prediction. This is where the country is headed if we continue down the Liberal track. It sounds incredible, something from the post-apocalyptic TV show like Fallout or The Last of Us, but this is the forecast from Prime Minister Carney's own government department, the Privy Council office. Now, Mr. Carney plans to continue the very policies that got us into this mess in the first place. In fact, he plans to go even further. $130 billion of additional spending above and beyond what Justin Trudeau had already promised will take the new debt that Liberals are projected to add over the next 4 years to $250 billion of inflationary, cost-driving spending that threatens our social programs and our future. M. Carney va non seulement maintenir toutes les dettes de Justin Trudeau, mais il prévoit d'ajouter encore plus de dettes et encore plus de dépenses, c'est-à-dire 130 milliards de dollars de nouvelles dépenses inflationnistes en plus du programme anti-croissance et anti-développement que les libéraux poursuivent depuis une décennie. Il dit qu'on devrait garder la moitié de notre pétrole dans la terre et il veut garder en place la loi anti-développement C-69. Il s'ajoute à toutes ces dépenses au déficit déjà en place et donc un quatrième mandat des libéraux sera encore plus coûteux que les premiers 3 mandats. To pay for it, they'll have to print even more money and hike taxes even higher, with inflation driving up grocery costs, housing, and gas even worse, just like the last 5 years when he was Trudeau's economic advisor. But the good news is, it doesn't have to be this way. We can choose change. We can choose hope. We can choose our future. Our platform at forachange.ca lays out this plan. It is a plan that will lower taxes and debt by getting rid of bureaucracy, consulting fees, waste, and excessive foreign aid to dictators, terrorists, and global bureaucracy. It is a plan to build homes by removing taxes and bureaucracy. It is a plan for safe streets by locking up criminals for a change. Change to unleash our resources so that we can stand on our own 2 feet and stand up to Trump and anyone else from a position of strength. The choice is this: a 4th Liberal term with Mark Carney, whose reckless Liberal plan will add even more debt than Trudeau, or a new Conservative government with a responsible plan to save $125 billion and put us back on the path to growth and security. This is my plan for change. First, we will cut the Liberal deficit by 70% by cutting back on bureaucracy, consultants, foreign aid to dictators, terrorists, and global bureaucracies, slashing money for special interests, and unleashing $500 billion of extra economic growth by unlocking the power of our resources and home building. We will, thank you. Now, in the past, I've told you that there would be a dollar-for-dollar law. Every dollar of new spending would need to be matched with a dollar of savings. We've gone even further. Every dollar of new spending in our platform, especially for things like defense, will be met with $1.50 in savings in other areas. We will cut consulting fees that the government pays by $10 billion annually and almost $20 billion over the term. Gradually and through attrition, without mass layoffs, we will wind down the cost of the bureaucracy by hiring back only 2 people for every 3 who voluntarily retire. We'll cut back on foreign aid by roughly 1/3, so that we no longer give money to terrorists, dictators, and global bureaucracy. The money will go to frontline people in need. We will And we will also pass this spending discipline in law so that going forward, every time a politician or bureaucrat comes up with an idea to spend more money, they will need to find the exact amount or more in savings before the idea will even be considered. This is how single moms, small businesses, and seniors make their decisions. Whenever I spend money, I will think of it as my mother's money, a retired teacher. If she would not be happy with it coming out of her retirement funds, then I should not be happy spending it. Canadians have been pinching their pennies long enough. It's time for government to start pinching pennies as well. We will unleash $500 billion of economic growth, a number certified by the former chief economic analyst of Stats Canada and by a former associate deputy minister. This growth will be the direct result of repealing Liberal anti-energy laws, removing bureaucracy that blocks home building, and cutting taxes on investment. This boom in growth will bring in $70 billion of additional revenue, money that we can use to pay for our cherished programs and military without raising taxes on Canadians. Which brings me to my second plank, major plank, to bring an affordable life for a change. A Conservative government understands that a dollar left in the hands of the person who earned it is always better spent than a dollar in the hands of the politician who taxed it. And that is why Conservatives will cut your income tax by 15% to save almost $2,000 for the average working family for a change. Third, we will axe the federal sales tax on new homes up to $1.3 million and pay municipalities to cut their building taxes to knock $100,000 off the price of a new home and build 2.3 million homes for Canadians over the next 5 years. And we want those homes to be in safe neighborhoods so that we will stop the crime for a change. We will lock up violent criminals and bring home safety. We will ensure that anyone convicted of 3 separate violent offenses will no longer ever be eligible for bail, parole, probation, or house arrest. It will be jail, not bail, jail, not bail, 3 strikes, and you're out. And we will put our own country first for a change. By repealing anti-resource laws Liberals have used to push us down and push our investment out, we will bring home the $500 billion that the Carney-Trudeau Liberals pushed to the Americans. We will build pipelines, mines, and other major projects. We will use the funds to rebuild our military so that we are a truly sovereign and strong nation that stands on its own 2 feet and stands up to anyone who confronts us. We are a nation that is proud, a nation that will be strong, and a nation that will assert its sovereignty for a change. C'est ça mon plan pour le changement. Au cours des 4 prochaines années, un gouvernement conservateur va réduire le déficit. Au cours des 4 prochaines années, les conservateurs vont couper la bureaucratie, des consultants, l'aide à l'étranger et le BS coopératif pour réduire le coût du gouvernement et réduire les déficits libéraux de 70%. En réduisant le coût, on peut réduire l'inflation et libérer de l'argent pour laisser plus dans la poche de monsieur et madame tout le monde. C'est comme ça, on va aussi mettre en place la loi dollar pour dollar qui garantit que chaque fois qu'on introduit un nouveau dollar de dépenses, on va devoir le matcher avec un dollar d'économie. Mais dans la plateforme actuelle, on va encore plus loin. On insiste pour $1,50 pour chaque dollar d'économie, pour chaque nouveau dollar de dépenses. C'est comme ça qu'on va réduire les déficits libéraux. On va aussi libérer un autre demi-billion de dollars de croissance économique au cours des 5 prochaines années, afin de générer 70 milliards de dollars de revenus supplémentaires sans les hausses de taxes et d'impôts. C'est en libérant nos ressources naturelles, la construction de logements et en réduisant les taxes sur l'investissement. Parlant des taxes, mon plan que je vais réitérer aujourd'hui, c'est de couper vos impôts de 15 % pour économiser à une famille de travailleurs moyennes près de 2 000 $, de l'argent que vous pouvez dépenser dans votre économie locale pour supporter votre famille. Mais il faut une maison pour le faire. C'est pour ça que j'annonce encore qu'un gouvernement conservateur va éliminer la TPS sur les maisons neuves et inciter les municipalités de couper leur bureaucratie pour ainsi réduire le coût d'un logement de 100 000 $. En plus, ces maisons seront dans les communautés sécuritaires. On va donc abroger des lois libérales qui font en sorte de libérer les criminels les plus sévères. On va garder des criminels en prison pour protéger vous et votre famille. Et finalement, nous allons mettre le Canada d'abord en libérant notre économie avec des projets de ressources naturelles qui permettent l'échange de l'Ouest à l'Est et à l'inverse au lieu de dépendre des Américains pour tout. After a lost Liberal decade of red tape, block projects, and rising taxes that drove almost $500 billion of investment south, we will get Canada building again with a new Conservative economic action plan to unleash our vast resource wealth, build major new infrastructure, bring back investment, and turn Canada into the richest country in the world. To that we know. Thank you. And by the way, richest country in the world is not just bragging points. It's not just to be at the top of the list of some OECD or G7 publication. It means that our kids will grow up to have beautiful homes, that we'll be able to afford the best health care treatments, that young children who are diagnosed with a rare disease will have the resources to treat that disease and save their lives. It means less poverty in our streets and less despair. It means our schools will be better funded and the most vulnerable will have an abundance of help paid for not by bone-crushing taxes or excessive bureaucracy, but by a massive growth and boom in our overall economy, a rising tide that lifts all ships. We will repeal the anti-development laws like C-69 that Mark Carney wants to keep in place. We'll get rid of the energy cap and unlock our energy production. We'll repeal the entire carbon tax for real, for everyone, for everything, for a change. We will bring home safe streets by locking up the criminals. We will take action to stop border smuggling of guns. We'll inspect the incoming shipping containers, add 2,000 frontline CBSA officers, and we will have watchtowers along the frontier to stop drugs, guns, and stolen vehicles from coming and going. We will, with a 3 strikes you're out law, we will put serious offenders behind bars for life, and we will take action to end the tent cities, get people into housing and treatment and help. No longer will we accept the Liberal approach of allowing people to languish, half dead, bodies lying on the ground, overdoses in our communities. These tent cities have been a terrible tragedy, a place where people go outdoors for effectively palliative care. We will end that by giving them hope that they can turn their lives around, get into housing, get their bodies clean of addiction, and reconnect with their families, because we're not going to give up on anyone. In fact, anyone who's out there suffering with an addiction, know this: we're going to provide 50,000 treatment spaces where you can go and get detox, counseling, group therapy, physical exercise, a job placement, and a home. So hang on, have hope, help is on the way. For our seniors who are increasingly worried about the cost of living and the dangers in our streets, we will protect you. We will protect your pension. We will ensure you continue to have the option of retiring at age 65. That will be the age of retirement for OAS, CPP, GIS. But if you do decide to work because you want to contribute and bring your wisdom to the people, we will allow you to earn $34,000 tax-free so that your hard work and your contributions are reimbursed and rewarded. Nous allons garder l'âge de retraite à 65 ans et permettre à ceux et celles qui choisissent de travailler de gagner juste à 34 000 libres d'impôts. But still, even with all of that, we need to ensure our health care is available for our people. And that is why my platform commits to working with the provinces, maintaining the promised increases in health care with no cuts whatsoever, providing supplementary funds to help with more residency positions, and bring in a Blue Seal program to help immigrants take a test, prove they're qualified, and get to work in their field. All these measures combined will bring us an extra 15,000 doctors to treat our patients. For a change, instead of the endless wait lines that we have seen après une décennie perdue des libéraux, avec moins de médecins et plus de gens qui attendent. Nous allons travailler en plein partenariat avec les provinces, en respectant leurs juridictions et en continuant d'augmenter les transferts en matière de santé, tout en créant un sceau bleu, un test qui permettrait des immigrants de prendre un examen, de prouver leur qualification et de travailler dans les domaines de la santé dans une entente signée avec toutes les provinces volontairement. Nous allons ajouter 15 000 médecins de plus à travers le Canada pour faire changement dans notre système de santé. And we're going to make sure that our health care, our housing, and our jobs are not overwhelmed. We will end the fraud in our international student program, the temporary foreign worker program, and cap population growth so that we always add health care, housing, and jobs faster than we add people. We will fix the broken immigration system for a change. None of this would be possible without the courageous soldiers who protect our borders and the veterans who've come before them. And that is why Conservatives will rebuild our armed forces with 4 heavy icebreakers. We will fill the vacancies in the forces, add new landing strips in our far north, purchase the Poseidons and fighter aircraft. We will add the first Arctic base for Canada since the Cold War, CFB Iqaluit. We will once again, yes. We will remove the bureaucracy and red tape so that our veterans can get the services they need, and our young veterans who come out of the forces in their 40s can get jobs working in the trades where they're given credit for the things that they learned in the forces. Let them earn big, powerful paychecks by going from helmets to hard hats. We owe them that, and we owe them everything else, and we will be there with our veterans. For a change, this country needs to stand up for its military and its veterans, the people who gave us everything we have. Thank you. Now, this is a hopeful message, and this really is the choice. Do you want hope for a change, or do you want fear that keeps us in dissent with rising costs and crime and a 4th Liberal term? Liberals are trying to do everything in their power to make you forget about the lost decade they have foisted upon us. Over the last few weeks, Mr. Carney and his team have done everything to force you to forget. But Mr. Carney cannot run from his Liberal record. Not only was he Trudeau's economic advisor who pushed for out-of-control money-printing inflation, but he has now recruited Justin Trudeau's entire team. He has Trudeau's top advisors following him around. I even caught him at the debate saying that Trudeau's advisory team was physically there with him. And you noticed he didn't deny it. The same people writing the same, they literally took the same platform they had written for Justin Trudeau. They did a Control F and they replaced Trudeau with Carney. Now, it's not me that's saying this. Was even a confession of a CBC commentator and very devout Liberal supporter. In fact, some people have said that Mr. Carney's spending is even more irresponsible than that of Mr. Trudeau's. That is what you're getting with a fourth Liberal term in office. A reckless plan for debt, decline, costs, and crime, or a responsible plan for change to bring home Canada's promise with the Conservatives. Au cours des dernières semaines de cette campagne, M. Carney et son équipe de libéraux ont fait tout pour vous faire oublier. Mais M. Carney ne peut pas cacher son bilan libéral. Ce n'est pas juste qu'il était le conseiller économique à Justin Trudeau. Il a exactement la même plateforme qui a été rédigée par des conseillers libéraux pour M. Trudeau. Ils ont simplement remplacé le nom Trudeau avec Carney. Donc, même plan, même ministre, même député libéraux et même plateforme libérale. Encore, M. Carney vise à dépenser 130 milliards de dollars plus que Justin Trudeau. Donc, le choix dans les élections, c'est est-ce qu'on va prendre le risque de réélire les mêmes libéraux qui ont causé cette faiblesse et cette explosion dans le coût de la vie, ou est-ce qu'on va choisir un changement avec un nouveau gouvernement conservateur responsable qui va couper le gaspillage, réduire les déficits, les taxes et les impôts, bâtir des logements, libérer nos ressources pour qu'on puisse tenir tête à Donald Trump et les Américains avec la force. C'est ça le choix. I believe in this country. I believe in its promise. And I believe our country is ready for change. Change that will bring hope. Change that will mean that our young people will have a future again, and that they will have children of their own they can raise in safe neighborhoods. And that when those kids are born, they'll be taught that they can do absolutely anything in this country. That they can cure cancer, start a business. Maybe what they want is just to grow up and buy a home, have 2 kids and a dog, and enjoy a peaceful Canadian life with a nice flag hanging from the front porch. That's the promise that the country made to me, and I owe this country everything for letting me stand on this stage, coming from my humble beginnings, and I want everybody to have the same chance that I have. So our purpose here today is to bring the change that will enable that promise to be renewed. Change so you can afford a good life. Change so that you can afford a nice home. Change so that you're safe in your community. Change so that we put Canada first. Let's bring it home. Thank you.
Thank you. We will now take questions from the floor. Please say your name and outlet.
Good morning, Mr. Poilievre. Nick Murray from the Canadian Press.
Thank you.
Your platform calls for $20 billion in revenue in the first year from tariff response, but you've previously said that a Conservative government would redistribute that to affected workers and tax cuts, and you've also said that you would look to pause tariffs in an early renegotiation of a new trade deal with the United States. So I'm wondering how you account for that $20 billion in revenue in year 1 with those variables at play and a $31 billion deficit already forecast.
Yes, that's a very good question. So you're right, we are inheriting a very large Liberal deficit. It's actually $46.8 billion right now under the current Liberal government. And well, let's be clear, all of these deficits that we're talking about are inherited from the previous Liberal government. So let's not pretend that these deficits were created by anyone other than Mark Carney and Justin Trudeau. On the tariffs, I have to accept the numbers the government published. Mr. Carney has said that the tariffs will generate $20 billion. What I'm committed to is redistributing that money to Canadians through tax cuts and through targeted aid to industries that are directly affected. So I have said that we will be cutting taxes by more than $20 billion by lowering income tax 15%, axing the sales tax on new homes, letting seniors have $34,000 tax-free earnings should they choose, axing the sales tax on Canadian-made automobiles, axing the carbon tax. So we will use the money to cut taxes on work, investment, energy, and home building. And also to eliminate the capital gains tax on any monies reinvested in Canada. We also have set up a fund, I think it's $2 or $3 billion that we have put aside to keep Canadians working. It's called the Keep Canadians Working Fund. It is going to be a loan program, but it's going to target those businesses that we know can survive and thrive in the future, but are trying to avoid layoffs in the short term while we go through this unfortunate and frankly wrong-headed tariff dispute that the President has wrongly pursued. So look, the bottom line is that with all this going on, we can't afford a fourth Liberal term of rising costs and crime. We need a change with a new Conservative government that will cut waste, cap spending, lower taxes, and bring home an affordable life for all Canadians. Thank you.
En français.
Merci beaucoup. C'est une très bonne question. J'ai souligné que le déficit qu'on va hériter de M. Carney et M. Trudeau est 46,8 milliards de dollars. C'est un déficit libéral. C'était prévu avant les élections. Donc, ce n'est pas mon déficit à moi, c'est le déficit libéral. C'est un déficit que je vais réduire massivement à 31 milliards de dollars dans la première année. En plus, comme le monsieur a très bien dit, je m'étais consacré auparavant de donner tout l'argent récolté par des tarifs en réduction d'impôts et en aide directe aux entreprises et travailleurs directement touchés. Et je vais garder cette promesse. Je vais couper les taxes sur l'investissement, l'énergie, la construction de logements et le travail. Ça inclut l'élimination de la TPS pour les nouvelles maisons, l'élimination de la taxe carbone. On va couper les impôts de 15% et on va aussi éliminer la taxe sur les gains en capital pour ceux qui réinvestissent au Canada. En même temps, on aura un fonds consacré aux entreprises et travailleurs qui peuvent garder leur opération à long terme, mais qui ont besoin d'un peu de liquidité juste pour payer leurs factures aussi longtemps que la guerre tarifaire continue. Donc, le choix pour les Canadiens, c'est après 10 ans des libéraux, de l'inflation, de dépenses hors de contrôle, on ne peut pas prendre le risque d'un quatrième mandat. Il faut que ça change avec un nouveau gouvernement conservateur qui va éliminer le gaspillage, couper les dépenses, réduire le coût de la vie pour faire changement. Merci.
Thank you. Next question.
Thank you. Bailey Morton with Aurora today. Your platform talks about incentivizing development charge cuts.
Yes.
And backing cities who build housing with infrastructure funding. Local municipal leaders in Newmarket and Aurora have talked about how they need more funding to do this infrastructure building, and that without the infrastructure built, that's what delays housing. So how's your plan going to get housing starts up and building faster?
This is a very good question. Over the last Liberal decade, housing costs have doubled, and the reason is that Liberals continue to build bureaucracy instead of building homes. As local governments jack up construction taxes, the federal government continues to give them rewards for doing so with more and more government spending. Mr. Carney is pledging to repeat all of the same Liberal policies on housing that got us into this mess in the first place. I want the opposite. I don't want to build bureaucracy. I want to build homes. So first, I will leave. The number one cost for a new home in Ontario today is taxes, direct taxes, sales taxes, land transfer taxes, development charges. The second biggest cost is bureaucracy, delays, zoning, permits, lawyers, accountants, lobbyists, none of whom build any homes. More money from a new home today goes to bureaucrats in buildings than goes to the carpenters, electricians, and plumbers who actually build the homes. So what I've said is to the cities, you need to follow my example of cutting taxes on home building. If you do, I will pay half the cost of your building tax reductions. The goal will be to cut municipal home building taxes by 50 grand, cut Canadian national home building taxes by roughly the same amount in order to reduce taxes on a new home build by 100 grand. Those municipalities that block housing, they will get less federal infrastructure money, very simply. I'm setting a target. Municipalities should be permitting 15% more homes every single year. And if they hit that target and beat it, they'll get more money. If they refuse, then they'll be getting less money. It's very simple. We cannot continue to pay local bureaucracies to block home building. We have to incentivize more construction. And you know, we are near Vaughan. I think Vaughan actually just cut their development charges by about 50%. I think I have that right. Is that right? Yeah, so that was a good decision. I want to give them credit for that. And I congratulated Mayor Del Duca for that. I know that he's a different color than I am, but when you acknowledge good work when it's done. And I would reward Vaughan and municipalities like that for making the right decision, because we have to axe taxes if we're going to build homes for a change.
Thank you.
Thank you.
En français.
Oh, merci. OK. Donc, la question, c'est comment faire pour encourager les municipalités d'accélérer la construction. Je vais utiliser l'argent pour l'infrastructure pour inciter des municipalités de réduire leurs frais, accélérer leurs permis et libérer les terrains pour bâtir 15% plus de logements par an. On va en plus éliminer la TPS sur les maisons neuves et les condos. C'est un gros changement parce que après la décennie perdue des libéraux, le coût du logement a doublé et M. Carney vise à faire exactement les mêmes politiques que Justin Trudeau, c'est-à-dire plus de bureaucratie, des grands stratagèmes, des agences à Ottawa, les dépenses. Ça n'a pas fonctionné depuis 10 ans, ça ne va jamais fonctionner. On ne peut pas nous permettre un 4e mandat des libéraux qui gonfle le prix de logement. On a besoin d'un changement pour couper les taxes sur la construction, accélérer les permis, libérer le terrain et offrir à nos jeunes la chance d'avoir une maison. Merci.
Thank you. Next question.
Mr. Poilievre, Joe Warmington from the Toronto Sun and Post Media.
Hey, Joe.
Nice to be here today. And
thank you.
I would be remiss as a reporter to not talk about what you talked about, and I want to talk about the platform, but just before that, you mentioned about this report out of the Privy Council.
Yeah.
Now, as a crime reporter, if you will, when I hear something like that, I cannot believe what I've heard. And it's such a stark contrast to what you talked about in your platform. But I do want to go back, if you can address that, how that's going to help fix it. But that is the most negative thing in my 40 years in journalism that I've ever heard about Canada. I don't see it too many places in the media, and I think it can't be glossed over. So I'd like to talk about that and how you're going to fix that if you win on next week.
I think you're absolutely right. I'm shocked that, like, this is not an interest group or an opinion columnist or even a think tank that has put out this report. It is not even just a government department. It is the Prime Minister's personal department. Like, I think somebody has to ask Mark Carney, has he seen this report? His department wrote it. And what they are anticipating on the current trajectory is a total meltdown, a societal breakdown in Canada if we stay on the current track. Why this isn't blazing the front pages of every news outlet in the country right now is beyond me. It's just unbelievable. Unbelievable. Like, it blows my mind. What they're actually saying is that, I'm just going to read some of these. More people, this is for the future. It's not enough for Mr. Carney to say, oh, well, the last 10 years is in the past, forget about it. Stop bothering me about the past, he will say. This is the predicted future his department foresees for Canada. More people may struggle to afford rent, bills, or groceries. The resulting stress could worsen mental health challenges. This would increase demand on social services. In 2040, upward social mobility is almost unheard of in Canada. Hardly anyone believes that they can build a better life for themselves or their children through their own efforts. Many worry about sliding down the social order. In 2040, owning a home is not a realistic goal for many. Inequality between those who rent and those who own has become a key driver of social, economic, and political conflict. In 2040, pursuing a post-secondary education is no longer considered a reliable path to social mobility. Fewer young people choose post-secondary education, and those who do see it less as a path to a successful career than a way to reinforce their membership in the, quote, elite. That's not my words. That's the government's words. The report paints a terrifying picture of a spiral of economic depression and cost inflation. People may lose faith in the Canadian project, it says. It forecasts that this may trigger people to, quote, emigrate to jurisdictions where they perceive upward social mobility or other higher standards of living are easier to obtain. If young workers leave, it may become harder to pay for our social programs for the older people in the country. And then this last line, it staggers me, that because groceries are expected to become so expensive, according to Mr. Carney's top government department, people may start to hunt, fish, and forage on public lands and waterways. Like it is just hard to believe when you read these words that this is about Canada. This is exactly why I'm in politics, to reverse this, to give people back the promise of this country. And we know what to do. We know how to get there. We have to unleash a plan for change, a plan that will cut people's taxes so their hard work pays off, that will remove bureaucracy so we can build over 2 million homes, that will lock up the violent criminals, that will unleash our resources to generate a $500 billion of extra economic growth, that will fund schools and hospitals and opportunity for our people. That's what's at stake. That's what change means. Thank you.
En français.
Mais je dois avouer, j'ai pas les mots en français du rapport. Évidemment, les médias qui s'y intéressent, évidemment, vont pouvoir obtenir parce que ça vient directement du département du Premier ministre, du Conseil privé. Et ce département dit que sur la trajectoire actuelle, l'idée d'accès à la propriété va être éliminée, que les gens vont arrêter d'aller au post-secondaire parce que ça ne leur donne pas d'espoir, qu'un grand nombre de nos jeunes vont simplement quitter le pays pour avoir l'opportunité ailleurs, et même qu'à cause des prix alimentaires, les gens vont devoir faire la chasse, la pêche et d'autres activités à l'extérieur pour chercher la nourriture. Ce n'est pas moi qui dis ça. C'est le département gouvernemental de Mark Carney qui a publié ce rapport. Je suis un peu stupéfié que ce n'est pas partout, comme 5 jours avant des élections, le département du Premier ministre prévoit un tel avenir. C'est incroyable. Mais moi, je prévois un autre avenir, avec un vrai changement, pour une vie abordable, pour des maisons abordables, pour la nourriture abordable, pour les rues sécuritaires, pour une croissance plus de $1 demi-billion de croissance supplémentaire qui va nous permettre de financer nos programmes sociaux et défendre notre souveraineté économique. C'est ça l'espoir. C'est pour ça que je suis en politique. C'est pour ça qu'il faut que ça change. Merci beaucoup.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We will now go to the final question.
Thank you.
Bonjour, Mylène Crête de la presse. Dans votre plateforme, vous prévoyez à peu près 12 milliards de nouveaux revenus avec la construction de maisons. J'aimerais savoir qu'est-ce qui va générer ces revenus. exactement. Et je me demandais aussi, qu'est-ce que vous allez faire du projet de train à grande vitesse entre Montréal et Toronto?
Très bonne question. Deux questions. On vous a promis une, mais on donne deux pour une. C'est parce que c'est une journée spéciale. Puis c'est dans ma plateforme. En parlant de revenus supplémentaires pour le logement, selon les rapports et les études, chaque maison génère 70 000 revenus pour le gouvernement fédéral en impôts, parce que les charpentiers, les électriciens, les plombiers et les entreprises de construction, ils paient les impôts. Donc, chaque fois qu'on ajoute une nouvelle maison qui n'était pas prévue par la trajectoire auparavant, on ajoute 70 000 $ aux revenus du gouvernement fédéral. Et ça, c'est bien documenté dans des rapports qui ont fait le calcul. On prévoit construire 2,3 millions de logements. C'est à peu près le double qui était sur la trajectoire actuelle. Les constructions de logements supplémentaires vont ainsi générer le revenu supplémentaire. Comment est-ce qu'on va le faire? On va éliminer le TPS sur les nouvelles maisons. On va inciter les municipalités de libérer le terrain, d'accélérer les permis et de couper leurs frais. On va vendre 15% des terrains et des bâtiments du gouvernement fédéral pour bâtir un autre 300 000 logements. Dans l'ensemble, on va pouvoir construire beaucoup plus et les charpentiers et des autres métiers et les entreprises vont ainsi avoir plus de revenus et payer plus d'impôts et de taxes. Et c'est comme ça que ça marche. Parce qu'après la décennie perdue où les libéraux ont doublé le coût du logement, il faut que ça change avec un nouveau gouvernement conservateur qui va couper les taxes et bâtir des logements. Merci.
In English, please.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So the question that came to me, I should just say on the train, we will grant fast permits for large-scale projects like this, and we will make this an environment in which projects can get built. Nous allons livrer des permis très rapides pour des projets comme vous avez mentionné. In English, the question was about housing, how we're going to generate billions of dollars of extra revenue from home building. That is based on a report we have that shows that every time a new house gets built in Canada, about $70,000 in taxes are paid by the workers and businesses who build those homes. Obviously, the carpenters, electricians, plumbers, they get paid salaries. The companies make profits, and they all pay taxes. So every extra home we get built generates 70 grand for the government. We're going to build 2.3 million homes, which is about twice the current trajectory, which means there'll be a lot more economic revenue coming in for the government from home building. How will we do it? We'll axe the GST, the federal sales tax on new homes. We'll incentivize municipalities to cut their development charges, speed up their permits, free up land. We'll sell off 6,000 federal buildings, thousands of acres of federal land. And in that way, we will build extra homes, which will generate additional tax revenue. This is a win-win-win after a lost Liberal decade of doubling housing costs. We can't afford a fourth term. We need a change to axe the taxes, cut the red tape, build the homes, and a bright future. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. That concludes today's press conference. Merci, ça conclut la conférence de presse.